around the world. So therefore, I'm going to do my very best to be obedient as Solomon was. But listen to what happened. Verse 8. 1 Kings chapter 3, verse 8. And once again, but those joining by radio, I'm going to give out this number, 1-800-774-5255. It's a toll-free number. Call it any time, day or night. And thy servant is in the midst of thy people, which thou hast chosen, a great people. Thou hast chosen. Now, I want you to understand right now that every child of God, every Christian in the world is chosen by God. I just gave you the scriptures, 14:6 and 6:44. John 15:16 says, you didn't choose me, but I chose you. I chose you. You see, we are a chosen people. Solomon has said, God, there's a multitude of people here that can't even be numbered. People that you have chosen. Solomon is to be ruler over all of Israel, a chosen people. God chose Israel. And I don't know about you, but I belong to the country Israel right now. I've been listening to a little bit of television in the last week, and they've been talking anti-Semitism and all this. A lot of people have been talking about the Jews, but I want you to know I'm right in the family of the Jews. I've been adopted into that family. One day God looked down and he said, you little Gentile, you ain't worth 10 cents, but I'm going to adopt you into my family, the Jews, the Hebrews, and I want you to come live with me, and I'm going to give you the same portion that I give to my only begotten son. He said, you have a portion of the streets of gold. You have a portion of all the diamonds and jewels and rubies and all the riches I have. You have a portion of the universe, my kingdom. So I got a little bit of Jew blood in me this morning, or on me. It's over my sins. It covers my sins. And I've been adopted into the family. So I am one of these multitudes. But God has called us and chosen us to go forth. Now listen to what he says here. And thy servant is in the midst of thy people, which thou hast chosen, a great people, that cannot be numbered or counted for multitude. Give therefore thy servant. Now, Solomon is saying, Lord, just give me, thy servant, an understanding heart to judge thy people, that I may discern between good and bad. For who is able to judge this thy so great a people? Solomon is saying, God, I don't want a bunch of riches. I don't need a bunch of gold. I don't need all of this stuff. Just give me wisdom. Give me an understanding so that I can judge between good and bad, so I can lead your people in the right direction. Now, how many of you have heard me tell you time and time again that 30 years ago, I heard a man preach on James chapter 1, verse 5, I believe it is. If any of you lack wisdom, ask, and it shall be given to you. God shall give it to you and upbraideth it not. He'll give it to you bountifully. I wanted wisdom. Solomon is saying, God, give me wisdom so that I'll know how to guide your people. I'll know how to discern between good and bad. That's all he's asking God. God, don't let me deceive anyone. Don't let me be deceived by anyone, but give me wisdom so that I'll know how to speak the truth, and I'll know how to judge and guide your people or direct your people in the right direction. Now listen to what God says. Solomon says, give therefore thy servant, which is Solomon, give thy servant an understanding heart to judge thy people, that I may discern between good and bad. For who is able to judge this thy so great a people? And the speech pleased the Lord. That Solomon had asked this thing. God was pleased with what Solomon asked. Solomon wasn't looking after himself. He didn't care about himself. It's just like Abraham on the hill with Isaac that day. He wasn't thinking about Abraham. He wanted to please God. He wasn't thinking about Isaac. Abraham wanted to please God. He wanted to be in God's will. He wanted to do that which is pleasing unto God. And church, that's all that I've been praying is, God, help me to put your will first in my life. Is that not what I wrote to you this morning, read to you this morning? You see, we have to make sure that we get self out of the way. And this is exactly what Solomon was doing. He was getting self out of the way. It's what Abraham did that day, and I had no earthly idea that song was going to be sung. I had no earthly idea. I didn't even know they were singing another song. I'd already had Larry up here. But you tell how God puts things together. Abraham wasn't caring about Abraham that day. Abraham wanted to be in God's will. God said, go on this mountain and offer a sacrifice. Give me back that son. And Abraham was ready to do it because it was his most prized possession, the greatest possession he had ever owned or he had ever had. But he was willing to give it up to please God. And when God saw that, God said, don't worry about it. I didn't want him anyway. I wanted your heart. I wanted you to prove to me that I am more important than your family. And now Solomon, instead of the riches of the world or the cares of the world, he said, God, all I want is wisdom. And the speech pleased the Lord that Solomon had asked this thing. And God said unto him, because thou hast asked this thing, and hast not asked for thyself long life, neither hast thou asked riches for thyself, nor hast asked the life of thine enemies, but hast asked for thyself understanding to discern judgment. Behold, I have done according to thy words. Lo, I have given thee a wise and an understanding heart, so that there was none like thee before thee, neither after thee shall any arise like unto thee. I have also given thee that which thou hast not asked, both riches and honor, so that there shall not be any among the kings like unto thee all thy days. And if thou wilt walk in my ways to keep my statutes and my commandments, as thy father David did walk, then I will lengthen thy days. Do you understand what he said? He said, if you'll be obedient to me and serve me, I will lengthen your days. See, Solomon hadn't even asked for a long life. All he asked for was for wisdom. And Solomon awoke, and behold, it was a dream. And he came to Jerusalem and stood before the ark of the covenant of the Lord, and offered up burnt offerings and peace offerings, and made a feast to all his servants. And then the dream came true. If you'll read the rest of it, 2 women came. And Solomon had wisdom. He had wisdom like you had never seen. He was the wisest man because he had asked God for those things. And church, God wants you to have every blessing that he has for you. He has blessings that we cannot even comprehend. The Bible tells us that eye hath not seen, nor ear heard, nor hath entered the heart of man the things that God has prepared for them that love him and that serve him. We can't even imagine. Now, I've seen some beautiful things in my life. I've been around the world and seen some beautiful things that God has created. But I can't even imagine what he has prepared for me and what he has prepared for you. God is God, and God wants us to be obedient to him. And he said, I'm going to give you something. I'm going to give you an understanding. I'm going to give you wisdom. I'm going to give you knowledge. But I said, the enemy is going to do everything he can to stop you on your journey. I've been on the road serving God for about 40-some years, 40-some years, 46, 47 years I've been saved. And I've been trying to serve God most of those 40 years. And I have learned one thing in those 40-some-odd years of serving God, that the devil is real, Satan is real, Lucifer is real, whatever you want to call him, and his fallen angels are real. His power is out there. His power is real. There's no question about it. I have felt his power. I have seen his power come against me. I have felt the power, and I felt his hand upon me, Satan's hand, and Haley's voodoo. I felt the power of Satan all over me, but I've also felt the power of